Welcome back to World History. We are now starting Roman numeral 3, Changing Outlooks in European Society. Fact of the matter is, with the Industrial Revolution having taken place, Europe itself is going to see some social changes taking place as well. Some of these changes will be good, some of these changes will be bad, some of these changes will be a matter of opinion. So let's get right into it. Letter A, faith in scientific progress. See, during the second half of the 19th century, Europe experienced a rapid expansion in scientific knowledge and technology. Practical inventions provided material comforts that previous ages had not known. We have inventions like the telegraph and the telephone. Faster forms of transportation, railroad, automobile, airplane, better nutrition and diagnosing and preventing diseases, and improved standard of living for most Europeans. Science had become the source of hope for the future. The belief became that with science, mankind could do anything. Number 1, evolutionary outlook. During the Enlightenment, they believed that the universe followed certain laws which proved the fact that God exists. After all, an ordered God would create an ordered universe. During the 19th century, however, man began believing in the theory of evolution. Charles Darwin is the main man responsible for modern-day evolution. He wrote a book called The Origin of Species in 1859. In short, or not in short, but letter A, he believed that organisms develop from simple to complex structures through natural causes. Sorry about that typo that's on the notes. It shouldn't say origins of species. It should just say origin of species. So you can avoid writing that letter down. The fact of the matter is, he claimed that no species remains the same, but rather it is shaped by its environment over countless ages. Another thing that evolution promoted was the concept of the survival of the fittest. Those creatures best able to adapt to their environment survive, while those with inferior characteristics die off. Survival of the fittest. And letter C, they believed that man developed from animals. Darwin wrote a second book called The Descent of Man. In it, Darwin applied his evolutionary beliefs to mankind. He observed that man resembles other creatures. Well, instead of recognizing the hand of a common creator, he taught that man developed from animals, which, by the way, is contrary to what the Bible says. So a question might be asked, why would God permit an ungodly theory such as evolution to gain such widespread popularity when it is diametrically opposed to Christianity? Why would God allow evolution to exist if it's unbiblical? Well, the fact of the matter is, God allows us a choice. If God wanted machines programmed to serve him, he would have made machines, but he didn't want that. He wanted us to decide for ourselves to glorify him. After all, choosing to worship God, wouldn't that receive more glory than something that is programmed to worship God? I think so. Anyways, moving on. Number 2, let's talk about the revolution of the physical sciences. We're going to mention some scientists who did great things during this time period. Remember, you have your fast facts of information. Please refer to that so you know exactly what you need to write down and what you already have listed. First of all, we have a man by the name of John Dalton. He lived from 1766 to 1844. He came up with the atomic theory. He was the first to realize that atoms were the building blocks of everything. The first time I remember learning about the atom, I still remember it to this day because I was in 4th grade. The teacher started talking about atoms and just started explaining how it was the building blocks of society. And, I honestly don't remember in 4th grade writing too many notes down, but for some reason I felt like I had to be writing this information down. I don't know, it was important material, so I started writing atom down. Well, problem is, of course, I didn't know how to spell it. I spelled it A-D-A-M, atom, because that's how the teacher pronounced it. And there was a kid in my class named Adam, so I called it Atom rather than atom. Anyways, all joke aside, survival of the fittest and the belief that man developed from animals was evolution. John Dalton promoted the atomic theory. Another person was a man by the name of Dmitri Mendeleev. He lived 1834 to 1907. He organized the chemical elements into a chart according to their atomic masses. In other words, he's the one who invented the periodic table. Another individual was a man by the name of William Runt. Gunn. He lived from 1845 to 1923. He accidentally discovered X-rays. Now, wouldn't you like that? To accidentally discover something, or your most successful accomplishment, you accidentally did it. Maybe you might feel a little embarrassed, a little depressed that was what you did, but I think I would take it anyways. William Runt Gunn invented or discovered X-rays. He called them X-rays because he didn't exactly understand how his discovery actually or scientifically worked. And by the way I remember Runt Gunn doing X-rays, I think of runt gun, as in holding a gun, and X-rays as a type of shooting of something. So if that helps you, good for you. If that doesn't help you, find your own way. Another pair of scientists, Pierre and Marie Curie. They discovered pitchblende, which broke down other elements into simpler components. They were a married French couple who did many scientific discoveries together. Another famous scientist was a man by the name of Niels Bohr. He lived from 1885 to 1965. He came up with a correct model of the atom. Fact being, there is a positive proton, a neutron, and negative electrons which surround the atom. The last individual on this list is probably the most famous of them all, of course, Albert Einstein. Lived from 1879 to 1955. His name is synonymous with genius, which then makes me wonder, why is it that when people insult someone else, calling them dumb or stupid, they use Einstein's name in vain? I don't think he would have appreciated that, right? Way to go, Einstein. Well, there you go. Apparently, Albert Einstein is a genius, but people use it in quite a negative way sometimes. Einstein, of course, came up with the formula E equals mc squared. For you scientists out there, we know that means energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. He also developed the theory of relativity. According to Einstein's theory, the measurements of time, mass, and length do vary. Moving objects increase in mass as they decrease in length. The amount of increase or decrease all depends on the speed of the object. If you still don't fully understand everything that I just said, ask your science teacher. Number 3, the impact of science on society. Fact of the matter is, science became the new standard by which society was measured. To many people, science became a new religion. They rejected the authority of the Bible for the authority of scientific theory. And they applied evolution and relativism. Relativism is the idea that there isn't always a right and wrong. There isn't always a good and bad. It just depends upon the individual. And they applied these two ideas to how we should live our lives. Although evolution was a theory, it was taken as science, while the biblical account of creation was taken as a myth or a fairy tale. Modern philosophers embraced Einstein's theory of relativity incorrectly by applying it to morality and declaring it relative. Moral principles simply evolved as man has evolved, so they believed. Through such belief and teaching, sinful men demonstrated their rebellion against God and His Word. That's all the information that we're going to talk about today. This was the first half of Roman numeral 3. Tomorrow, we will finish the chapter, and have a good day. See ya. Bye.